The movie takes place in a historical period of China's history. In the present day, we meet the king of the Pei state called Pei Liang, and he is approached by Liu Yan, the kingdom's master. Liu Yan informs the king that Commander Ziyu has gone to meet the general of the Yan state and has challenged him to a one-on-one duel to reclaim their city of Jing. This enrages Pei Liang, as all he wants is peace, so he refuses to risk another war between the two states once again. Later, we meet Pei's sister, Princess Qingping, who is spending time with Ziyu's wife, Xiao Ai, and discussing the fate of the kingdom. Xiao Ai predicts that rain will fall after 7 days, just as the battle begins, and that they will win the war against the Yan state. Not long after, Commander Ziyu returns to the palace, and the king immediately summons him to confront his reckless behavior and for challenging the rival commander without permission. Ziyu explains that all he wanted was to reclaim his homeland and declares that he is ready to accept any punishment in court. He is even prepared to be beheaded, but Pei refuses, knowing Ziyu is his most loyal commander and has helped him a lot in the past. After everyone leaves, Pei speaks privately with Master Liu Yan and reveals that he intends to marry his sister to the son of Commander Yang Kang, whose name is Yang Ping. He believes this is the only way to prevent the war and preserve peace between two states. When Liu Yan questions what the princess might think of such an arrangement, Pei dismisses the concern, stating that her opinion does not matter. He then instructs Master Liu Yan to meet Commander Yang and deliver the proposal. Elsewhere, we see Xiao Ai enter a hidden room in the palace that leads down into a secret cave. There, Commander Ziyu is being willingly stabbed and wounded by an older man who appears sick and fragile. In a shocking twist, we learn that this frail man is actually the real Ziyu, and he is gravely injured from his last duel with Commander Yang a year ago. His shadow, who looks exactly like him, was found by Ziyu's uncle 20 years ago when he was just a starving, homeless boy on the streets. So, to reclaim his homeland, the city of Jing, Ziyu has been training his shadow to fight in his place against Commander Yang. No one knows about this arrangement except his wife, Xiao Ai. The shadow's name is also Jing, since Ziyu named him after their homeland, so that Jing would never forget his purpose. Here, Ziyu is deliberately inflicting wounds on Jing's chest, the same spot where he himself was injured a year ago, so that no one will suspect the truth. After that, he applies medicinal herbs to Jing's chest to heal the wound, and then makes it look rotten. Next, Ziyu informs Jing that his mother is alive and still in the city of Jing. This shocks Jing, and he presses for more details, so Ziyu reveals how his people found her and have provided her with a safe shelter. It turns out that for the past 20 years, Ziyu and his uncle have been keeping Jing trapped in the palace for their own purposes, and Jing has never tried to run away because he feels a deep sense of loyalty to them. However, Ziyu now promises that after he defeats Yang, he will finally let Jing go so he can be reunited with his mother. Afterward, Jing and Xiao Ai leave the secret cave and head to a room where the servants prepare a bed for them, but once the servants leave, Jing sneakily moves to another room to sleep alone, since the two are only pretending to be a couple. One might say he is conserving his Jing. The following day, Jing arrives at court in front of the king to face the consequences for challenging Commander Yang and screwing up the alliance. Everyone argues that he deserves to be punished and should be beheaded, but Pei refuses. He just decides to strip Jing of his commander position and make him a commoner, which is accepted by Jing. Next, the king insists on seeing his wound and claims he wants to put ointment on it. A worried Jing refuses, but when the king keeps pressing, he has no choice but to obey. Jing removes his clothes, and as the king examines the wound, he comments that it looks way too fresh. Jing quickly spins a story that his previous wound had already healed, but he made this fresh cut on himself because he felt ashamed for losing the battle and wanted to punish himself. The king is seemingly convinced by this story and finally asks him to go, but before leaving, Jing claims that since he is now a commoner, the king has no reason to worry about his challenge to Commander Yang. Later, at the secret cave, Xiao Ai tells her husband how the king demanded to see Jing's wound and remarked that it looked fresh. However, Ziyu insists that there's no way the wound could look fresh and claims that the king was just testing it. Later, Ziyu is seen training Jing, who wields a metal umbrella as a weapon. However, Jing fails repeatedly in practice duels against Ziyu, who mimics Yang Kang's three-strike technique perfectly. This frustrates Ziyu, and he begins to doubt Jing's ability to face Yang Kang in battle. He even becomes abusive and strikes Jing harshly, while Jing accepts his mistakes and endures the beatings without complaint. Back in the palace, Master Liu Yan meets with Pei and reveals that he has forwarded the marriage proposal of the princess to Commander Yang. However, it turns out that the son, Yang Ping, has offered to maintain peace by taking Princess Qingping only as his concubine, not as his wife. He has even sent a dagger as an engagement gift to be accepted if the king agrees. This shocks Pei, but after a brief consideration, he shockingly agrees to the proposal. Upon hearing this, Princess Qingping is furious as she never agreed to the marriage, let alone to be anyone's concubine, sparking a huge argument with her brother. Even the other officials in the palace are angry, as this represents a great humiliation for the princess and for the kingdom itself. Amid the argument, one of the generals, called Tian, suggests that they gather soldiers and attack the Yan state immediately for proposing such an offense. However, when Pei stops him, Tian calls him a spineless king and claims he will only bring the kingdom to collapse. This angers Pei, who strips Tian of his position, but Tian doesn't care and continues hurling insults while removing his uniform. A furious Pei tries to strike Tian with a crossbow, but Qingping steps in to defend him. To prevent bloodshed, Qingping finally agrees to become the concubine and accepts the dagger as the gift. The scene then cuts to Jing City, where we finally see Commander Yang Kang, who is teaching the battle techniques to his son, Yang Ping. The father tells his son that the Yangs are renowned for their force, speed, and lethal precision in 3 rounds of a duel. They then discuss Ziyu, who is actually Jing, and Commander Yang remarks on how the man looks so healthy despite being gravely injured in their last battle. He then asks his son about his proposal to accept the princess as a concubine. Yang Ping reveals that he only did it to pressure Pei into giving up, as the king is trying to take over Jing City using the marriage alliance. However, when he learns that Pei has agreed agreed to the proposal. He is visibly shocked. Still, they are not overly worried as they have a spy in the palace who will keep them updated on every move of the king's. Back at the secret cave, Ziyu is training Jing, who is seen struggling to make much progress. Seeing this, Xiao Ai steps in to help, having observed their training for a long time and understanding how to counter Commander Yang's sword. She advises Jing to adopt feminine techniques and embrace the umbrella as a symbol of yin to defeat Yang Kang. She explains that in the philosophy of yin and yang, their umbrella, a flexible weapon, represents water, which is yin, and works especially well in the rain. Commander Yang's saber, on the other hand, is fierce and fiery, representing yang and fire. However, water counters fire and yin opposes yang, so by using feminine movements with the umbrella, Jing can stand a real chance of overcoming Commander Yang. Next, Xiao Ai demonstrates the technique by fighting with her husband and easily defeating him. This impresses Ziyu so much that he asks her to teach it to Jing as well. Xiao Ai then asks Jing to hold her, which he does, and together they spar against Ziyu, managing to deflect his attacks. They even succeed in disarming him, and Ziyu is thrilled by their progress. Confident in their success, they are now certain they will be able to defeat Commander Yang in the upcoming battle and reclaim the city of Jing. Later, Ziyu, who has heard about Tian's dismissal, asks Jing to bring him to the cave for a conversation. Jing obliges and approaches Tian, where he explains everything about how he has been living as Ziyu's shadow ever since the commander was seriously injured. Jing then leads Tian to the secret cave, where Tian is stunned to see the real commander and bows in respect. The two men speak privately, and Ziyu explains that after his father was killed in court, his uncle had found a shadow for him to keep him safe from the treacherous world of politics. He then asks for Tian's help in leading an attack against Commander Yang's troops and reveals his strategy. In the end, Ziyu also reveals his ambition to become king of the kingdom of Pei, which Tian supports since he is tired of the incompetence of the current ruler. Ziyu then instructs him to gather troops and receive the new umbrella training from Xiao Ai.
Seriously, you gotta check this umbrella shit out.
To which Tian agrees. After leaving the cave, Tian looks at Jing and is astonished by how strikingly he resembles the commander. After that, Tian begins secretly gathering convicts as his troops and starts training them for the upcoming battle with Xiao Ai's help. The scene then cuts to the night before the duel, where Ziyu, Jing, and Xiao Ai drink together. Jing is happy knowing that he will finally be able to reunite with his mother. Later, Jing and Xiao Ai go to their residence, where Xiao Ai appears very upset that Jing will leave the next day. She asks him why he stayed all these years and never tried to escape, despite Ziyu's abuse. At this moment, Jing shockingly reveals that he stayed because of Xiao Ai, and indirectly confesses his feelings for her, leaving her stunned. He also says that no one will care whether he lives or dies tomorrow, to which Xiao Ai responds that she does not care. Next, Jing goes to sleep in a separate room, as usual, but not long after, Xiao Ai arrives, looking for him. She finds him crouching on the floor and moves to comfort him, and they suddenly begin kissing. One thing leads to another, and the two end up becoming intimate that night. Unbeknownst to them, all of this is being watched by Ziyu, who is furiously peeking through a hole in the wall. Yin and Yang. This confuses Yang Kang since Jing is no longer officially a commander, and the battle should be meaningless. Regardless, he still agrees to the duel since he is confident in his own abilities. Elsewhere, Tian and his troops enter the cliffs at the bottom of the river, making their way toward Jing City. Unexpectedly, King Ping joins the troops and is determined to fight for her people and city. Tian worries about the princess and tries to stop her, but King Ping refuses to listen. Meanwhile, Yang Kang and Jing engage in their duel, which is set to take place in 3 rounds. At first, Jing manages to gain the upper hand, but the next 2 rounds are won by Yang Kang, who is a highly skilled fighter. He admits that no one has ever lasted this long against him, and is impressed, yet he asks Jing to stop the fight and call it a draw. However, Jing refuses his offer and insists on continuing the fight until death. At the same time, Tian and his troops successfully infiltrate Jing City and initially attack silently by killing the soldiers guarding the city. However, soon Yang's troops arrive in large numbers, and they are led by Yang Ping. Tian's troops then open their metal umbrella weapons and launch a fierce counterattack, striking down many enemies. At one point, King Ping comes face to face with Yang Ping and tries to kill him, but he is a skilled fighter and gravely injures her. She collapses on the verge of death, while Yang Ping, not recognizing her, says that a woman like her should be at home instead of fighting. In response, King Ping reveals how he offended her by proposing she be his concubine, and Yang Ping is stunned to realize that she is actually the princess. He rushes to check on her, but she tells him that she has come to return something to him. Yang Ping doesn't understand, and suddenly, King Ping stabs him in the neck with the same dagger he had sent her. He is also now fatally wounded, and both of them collapse dead within seconds. With this, Tian's troops emerge victorious and remove Yang's banners from the city. Upon seeing their banners fall, Yang Kang realizes what has happened and begins brutally attacking Jing. However, Jing soon manages to gain the upper hand and kills Yang using a broken piece of an umbrella blade. After that, Jing rushes to the city to see his mother, but when he arrives at her house, he is stunned to find her dead after being stabbed. The devastated man begins to cry just as he is ambushed by a group of men whom he assumes were sent by Commander Ziyu. Jing is quickly overpowered, but at the last moment, he is saved by someone who claims to have been sent by the king and urges him to return to the palace. Elsewhere, Pei arrives at the aftermath of the battlefield and looks for his sister. His world comes crashing down when he finds her dead, and he bursts into uncontrollable tears. Sometime later, Pei holds a celebration to mark the victory of conquering the city of Jing. Amid his sorrow over his sister's death, he prepares a special welcome for the return of a great hero, Commander Ziyu, or Jing, whose true identity remains unknown to everyone. Then, to everyone's shock, he asks all attendees to leave except for Master Liu Yan, Commander Ziyu, and his wife, Xiao Ai. After that, Pei suddenly confronts Master Liu Yan for being a spy and secretly working with Commander Yang. This leaves Master Liu Yan speechless, so Pei doesn't waste any time in brutally beheading him. Both Jing and Xiao Ai are horrified at the sight, and at that moment, the king finally reveals reveals that he has always known this man is not the real Commander Ziyu. All this time, he deliberately pretended not to know and waited for the right moment so that they would win the city back for him. Elsewhere, a group of masked assassins arrives at Ziyu's secret cave to kill him on the king's orders. But despite being frail, Ziyu skillfully fights them off. Elsewhere, Pei thanks Jing for reclaiming their city and reveals that he plans to make him commander and kill the real Ziyu. He also states that now Jing and Xiaoai can be an official couple rather than pretending. At that moment, a masked assassin arrives carrying a box that supposedly contains Ziyu's head, which causes Xiaoai to panic. Meanwhile, an excited Pei opens the box only to find it empty, and just then Ziyu, who is dressed as the assassin, shockingly stabs him from behind. It turns out that Ziyu had managed to escape the assassination attempt and successfully deceived the king. As Pei collapses to the floor, Ziyu tells Jing that it was the king who ordered his mother's murder, so he could blame Ziyu. He expresses his regret that all these years he spent his life chasing war, fame, and meaningless things. He claims he is dying soon and asks Jing to finish off Pei, then rule freely as king and be with Xiaoai. Hearing this, Jing agrees and moves to take the sword, but in a sudden twist, Ziyu stabs him from behind. A furious Jing quickly turns and stabs Ziyu to death, which leaves Xiaoai devastated. Jing then puts the mask back on Ziyu's face, after which he finishes the wounded Pei as well. After that, he shockingly places the sword in Ziyu's hand to frame him for the murder. Upon seeing this, Xiaoai is horrified and cowers in fear, so Jing calmly approaches her and reassures her that she is safe. He then steps out of the court and announces that the king has been murdered by an assassin, but he managed to kill the assassin. Panic spreads among everyone, and Tian is stunned by the revelation but does not object. As the movie ends, Xiaoai runs to the doors of the hall and peers out through an opening, torn between exposing Jing or accepting what has happened.